You came up with the nut a long time ago.
I did, about 15 or 20 years ago. I went along to a clay pigeon shoot and thought, yeah, it looks great fun, but from a spectator point of view, maybe it could be more interesting. So coming from a radio control background, I developed the NAT radio control target for people to shoot at with shotguns.
Right, and the Firebird came out of that? Or?
It did. One of the problems with the NAT was that the whole nature of it made it intrinsically very expensive to shoot. You know, literally sort of £1,500, £2,000 for a day, which, yes, there is a marketplace for that, but a small one. So when I sold the company, I then continued developing the Firebird target to give an alternative, explosive, entertaining target that doesn't cost quite so much money. And the other advantage of the Firebird over the NAT is that the person who buys it operates it, fits it, whereas with the NAT you needed specialist operators to fly it, so it was very limited.
Right. So this is something any playground can.
Any playground. It's not. It's a 1.4S product, which effectively means anybody over the age of 18 can buy it. You don't need a shotgun license. As long as you're storing less than 5 kilograms, you don't need a storage license. And they can be fitted to clay pigeons. You can shoot them with air rifles. There's a smaller version. You can shoot them with centerfire, rimfire, even crossbows.
Brilliant. What sort of problems have you come up against developing it?
I think the first problem was making it work. We went through, a bit like Dyson and his Hoover, you know, we went through countless different varieties trying to make it work with all weapons, and it was quite a struggle. Then once we got it working, we then applied to the Health and Safety Executive for classification to transport it, and we then had a whole new set of problems which took a number of years to overcome. But it is now, you know, in March this year they classified it as 1.4S and we're street legal and we've got the licence, and so we're very happy.
Right. So anyone who's setting up a charity shoot or something, they can just buy a box and use them.
Absolutely perfect for, you know, something like a driven flush. You know, you can slip half a dozen in to a 100-bird flush, and it just livens things up a bit.
Sure, sure. And you were saying that, I mean, basically it just sticks in a regular old clay pigeon, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And we were finding earlier, if you hit it nicely in the centre of the pattern, you get a bigger bang than if you...
The harder you hit it, the more of a bang you're going to get.
Yeah.
If you just clip it with one pellet, you'll still get an ignition, but it won't be quite so loud.
Right. Right.
And it's got, and as I think I mentioned earlier, you've got to very much consider it to be a bullseye. Just because you hit the clay doesn't mean that you're going to set the thing off. You've actually got to hit the target, the reactive target, for it to ignite.
Yeah, I've chucked one today, and it took the clay out from around here, but the Firebird carried on. But it is tremendous fun to shoot, isn't it? And to watch. I mean, it makes clay shooting quite a spectator sport, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're hopeful that may make it more television friendly in the future.
Yeah, yeah, certainly could do. Well, the item itself is it looks like a sort of aluminium or something.
It's actually a tin. It's a bespoke made tin receptacle.
Right.
It is tin plated, and so it doesn't rust too quickly. However, it's designed in such a way that when it ignites, it burns the tin plate off. It's a very thin layer, in order that if you don't go around and pick it up, the remains will rust in a very short space of time.
Oh,
so
I
it's
see.
almost nothing.
Oh, right, okay. So although it resists the moisture in the air when it's stored, once it's gone off, it'll
rust.
Yeah.
I mean, literally overnight you'll see it covered in rust.
Really amazing. Okay, and then there's like a thin layer of whatever the reactive material is.
Correct. Yeah,
inside of there.
There's about 7 or 8 different ingredients in there, which are fairly sort of standard pyrotechnic ingredients, with the one secret ingredient to sensitise the product in order to make it work.
Right. Okay, and then there's a paper cover over the top.
It's a paper lid, and that paper lid is pressed in and forms pretty much an airtight seal. Okay. Around the edge.
So is that reasonably weatherproof? If If you were
This is the Mark 1 version,
Right.
and I mean, if you get soaking wet, it's not going to work.
right,
And obviously, an amount of moisture, it will
Yeah.
continue to work.
it's going to
There's
be in a clay pigeon stack. It's going to be protected
absolutely
anyway, isn't it?
correct.
But if you're shooting centre fire rifle targets in the pouring rain or something, you might have
That's
to
right.
get on with it.
I mean, the lid is UV varnished, so
Mm-hmm.
it has an amount of water resistance. We are currently working on a waterproof
Right.
system for the military, which we'll probably offer for the civilian market as well.
Okay. Any other developments you're able to talk about at the moment? You've obviously
there
sort
is-
of alluded to some interesting ideas you got going.
There is a Mark II on the way.
Yeah.
It won't be here for probably about 6 to 9 months. I can't say too much about it, other than to say that the entire clay pigeon will be reactive.
Ah, right. That'll be
so-
interesting. Yeah.